Let's take a look at the euro dollar for the upcoming September the 4th session. Now, it's a bit unfortunate that we're having the US Non-Farm Payroll announcement today, which usually means that the dollar-based pairs are in tight consolidation. And as we scan through from the 15-minute chart on up this time, there's really not a lot of setups. We're in all this congestion. And so what I'm hoping for, again, with the non-farm payroll announcement that's coming out, is that we'll get some big, huge spike, something to break us out of all this monotony, all this congestion up and down that's through here. The way the euro dollar is for the upcoming sessions and the way it looks right now, we'd rather wait till next week, Monday, Tuesday, to start trading this. The tight price action perhaps through the non-farm payroll, the London session in advance of that, the non-farm payroll announcement, maybe it'll blow up some support and resistance levels and give us some trading on it next week. There really just isn't a lot. It's a ton of consolidation, and there doesn't really seem to be any high probability trades for the Euro USD right now on any time frame, so we're choosing to stand aside on it. And that's going to be a wrap for the euro dollar for the upcoming September the 4th session. Let's take a look at the pound dollar for the upcoming September 4th session. And you can see on the daily chart again, we've rallied back up. We tried to come back up across this daily trend line. The pound tried to get up above it. It hit the 40-day exponential moving average and was rejected pretty hard. So as we go down to a lower time frame like the 1-hour chart, there's some nice things that we're seeing to develop here. And finally, we're getting a little bit of price action to calm down. So there's some of our notes from yesterday. And we're getting a trend line that came right through this area here. We have a swing low to a swing low here, and we're a little bit below it. We have a low from yesterday. So what we're going to watch for is the fact that we had a close, again, a rejection below this daily trend line that we broke again last week. What we're going to keep our eye on are two things. Number one, a close below this low here and these moving averages, not just below this low, but below these moving averages as well on this 1-hour chart. So we're going to have to see a close below this level on the 1-hour, and then we'd sell, looking for price to continue on to the downside. And the reason we'd be looking for this is because price has been rejected again by this daily trend line. Now, for price to rally up, we're not big fans of just buying right in here, even on a trend line break that would come across this area, because it could just really quick again hit this daily trend line and bounce back down. See this high right here, the spike that was rejected earlier today, a close above that on an hourly chart, and we would be happy getting into a position on a long and then looking for it to go back above the daily trend line. In other words, the break of the daily trend line would no longer be valid. A close above this high, we would expect it to continue on higher. So the sells and buys, we're looking for one buy, one sell, one buy on a level, on a close on the 1-hour chart above this level, and we're looking for a sell on a close of a 1-hour candle below this level. Remember, not spikes, but close on the 1-hour. That means you only have to check back on the pound dollar every hour. That's pretty good. All right, folks, so that's going to be a wrap for the pound dollar for the upcoming September the 4th session. Let's take a look at the dollar yen for the upcoming September the 4th session. So as you can see from our notes yesterday, we talked about the dollar yen possibly sliding through these lows, and it did drop down, and it closed above, finally above that little trend line that we drew. And here was the imaginary one. You know, we said watch for something and see if it holds up here at this previous support area, and it didn't. You know, there was the trend line we drew in the future, and it just it never broke that. So this trade could be one that we are still in. And what we want to watch for the upcoming session for September 4th is really one thing. We're still going to stay in this trade. We're going to look for a trend line break here. There's some momentum suggesting that we could go back down to the downside and see if this bottom was for real. So the only real trade we're looking for in the dollar yen for the upcoming session, again, because there's going to be a dollar-based major news announcement tomorrow with the non-farm payroll, is a break of this trend line and a close below it on a 30-minute chart. And then we're going to look to keep into that trade and take profit as it comes to these lows and see if it continues on lower. Now again, today is going to be non-farm payroll announcement in the US. So make sure by the time that news announcement comes in, if you still have money on the table, please make sure that 90% of your profit is booked. And if you do have money on the table and you're not in a profitable position, take 90% of your trade off for a small loss and then see if you're going to get some win on that 10%. So that's going to be a wrap for the dollar yen for the upcoming September 4th session. Let's take a look at the euro yen for the upcoming September 4th session. We want to look on this daily chart and notice that price broke below these lows here on a daily basis, as you can see. And we've tried to rally up and come back up above that level and have not had any success. And so we're still below it. Right now, let's go down to the 1-hour chart and see where we're taking a look at. You can see we're MACD is right near the waterline, pretty much neutralized. And we're getting a strong downward candle here currently. What we're going to watch for in the upcoming session is really two things. We're going to have a nice trend line that's coming up through this level. And we want to see a close below this trend line here on a 30-minute to 1-hour basis. Again, that would be because we broke through a significant support level on the daily chart, and that's the line that we have right there. We've closed below it on a daily basis. And so a close below this trend line on a 30-minute to hourly basis would give us some commitment that price is looking to continue that downward trend. We would like to take some profit down off the table around these levels down here because price might just spike and bottom and bounce around. And that would, it'll be a little bit more secure for us. We'll feel better if we got some profit booked. We do want to make sure that we have some money left on the table if it continues on past these levels. Now, if we're looking for a buy, price would actually have to close above this level here on an hourly basis. Not a spike, not during the middle of the hour, going to be at the end of the hour. You would look to see here if price had closed above these levels. That means it would have closed above this double top, this dual day double top, and a close above that on the hourly time frame would give us some commitment that we were looking to move to the upside. Now, as we come up to this 200 exponential moving average on the 1-hour chart, we would take some money off the table in that buy scenario, portion of our trade. And the reason we would do that is you can see that 200 EMA on the 1-hour chart can be very significant. It could be a good point of support and resistance. So if we fund our trade up at this level and leave some on to run, it can be going to the upside. So we have two trades. The buy would be a 1-hour close above these double tops right here on the hourly basis, and a sell would be a close on the 30-minute to 1-hour chart below this level right here. So that's going to be a wrap for the euro yen for the upcoming September the 4th session.